Welcome. Welcome to another topic, command line arguments. Command line arguments. What are these command line arguments? We discussed about these functions. So function call will be like this, function name followed by arguments. Then function definition where you will be having function name, parameters, and then body of the function where you write the code. So functions, how do you invoke the functions? How do you invoke the functions? You just invoke the functions by giving the function name followed by arguments. Followed by this is for general function, any function. The sum of AB. This is just one example. Okay, you will be invoking like this. Okay, and here functions will have parameters. In the definition part, functions will have parameters. Okay, this can be any function. Say again sum. Say sum xy. Integer x. Y say. You will be writing the code of the function. You'll be writing the code of the function. Okay. This is if the function is say sum or any user defined function. Now the question is what about main function? What about main function? So until now, we have not passed any arguments. To the main. Now, can you pass arguments? To the main? So yes, the answer is yes, you can pass the arguments. So those arguments are called as command line arguments. You can pass the arguments. To the function. Command line arguments involves something else also, but you can pass the arguments. So the arguments which you can pass to the main function are two arguments. You can pass two arguments. One which is the number of the arguments. The first argument is the number of arguments represented by some variable name. Let us say for convenience, if you follow the generally followed convention, it is called as argc. Argc represents the number of arguments. And second one is the list of arguments. Which is specified by an array of pointer called as argv, star argv. You have to write like this only. Okay, it is called as array of pointers. Argc represents the number of arguments. The arguments themselves are represented using array of pointers. That means each element of array is a pointer which points to the name of the argument. So what is command line? Okay, you can pass arguments to a function or parameters to a function to main. So what is command line actually? So commands are the instructions given to the computer. Your program is actually a command. So generally we use graphical user interface. We got accustomed to it. We will be just clicking the icons and applications will be invoked. But generally, or if you consider the, say this, maybe 20, 30 years back, 20, 30 years back, so people used to give the commands or used to type the command at the command prompt, at the command prompt, at the command prompt. In the case of Windows, it is DOS prompt. Or in the case of Unix also, you can go to the command prompt. So command line is the interface where you can type the commands. Command line is the interface where you can type the commands. So I'll go and show. You just type CMD here. Okay, command prompt. Go to the command prompt. So here you can type commands. So there is one command which lists the directories. So you can pass arguments to it also, dir/p. Okay, you can see here it is waiting. That means a screen, the contents which fit on the screen will be displayed, and it waits for you. Press again, the remaining things will be displayed. Say one screen at a time. That is argument /p. Like that, you can pass different arguments. So that is not there. So what was the? Okay. So using CD, you can go to different directories. Go to public. So this is the command prompt. In the case of Windows. Similar command prompt will be available in Linux and also Unix environments. But one important point is, because you are using GUI nowadays, so you may think that we don't need it. But in the server environment, lot of work is done using these commands only. They go to the command prompt. System administrators, the database administrators, operating system administrators, they usually prefer the command line. They go and type the commands. So it is actually a simple way of doing it. And you can specify the different parameters. Depending on the parameters, you can get different outputs. So there is command line arguments. So you can go to the command line and then type the commands. So this is one simple example. Here you can see main followed by not empty parenthesis. We have supplied two arguments, argc char star argv. So array of pointers. So you can see here after that we are printing the number of arguments. So which is an integer value argc, and then we are printing the total list of the arguments. So it is an array of pointers. So indexing starts at 0. So from 0 to less than this argc. So total number of arguments is argc. The values are stored from 0 to argc minus 1. That's why it is I less than argc. So you are printing them. So the number of arguments and then the list of the arguments are printed. We'll consider this programming example. But this is how your program looks. But you have to follow some procedure for running this type of programs. So you compile it, create the executable file, go to the command line and type the name of the program followed by the arguments, if any. Okay, so this is what you have to do. Compile it, create executable file, fine, and then you have to go to the command line and type the name of the program. So this is regarding the command line arguments. The programming example we will see. Okay, this is just an illustration. I'm just trying to explain it theoretically. Okay, argc is nothing but the number of arguments. The argv is the array of pointers. The values of arguments are stored from 0 to argc minus 1. So what are the values that are printed exactly? We will see in the programming example. Okay, this is regarding the command line argument. So you can command the computer. So you are very powerful person. You can do many things with the computer. Don't think you have to go to the IDE and then run the programs, etc. You can create your own commands to control the computer through programming. So you can command the computer, believe in it. Thank you.